Good morning. We're going to do the second part of solving systems of equations by elimination. And today you're going to see that we were really supposed to do part of this lesson as of yesterday's, but I broke it up into two sections because it's a lot of writing. Today you're going to see that the x's and the y's don't necessarily cancel out just by looking at them, but by tweaking them just a little bit, we can make them cancel out. A little heads up, next week you're going to need 2 highlighters minimum. 3 would be better. So try to get like a yellow and a pink one because when they overlap, they'll make a nice green area. But we're going to do some shading on our graphing and solving systems of inequalities. Okay. So weekend's coming up. So if you're in the store and you don't have 2 highlighters around the house, make sure you get some. Okay. All right. So as we look at this equation here, everything's lined up. My x's, my y's, and my units. But I'm not seeing anything canceling out. But if I kind of study it a little bit, I see that my y's almost cancel out here. That if I just had this become a plus 4y, then those y's would cancel out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by a negative 2 up here, and that would make that y be a positive 4. So I'm going to do that whole equation by a negative 2. So that'd be a minus 6x plus 2y's. Oh, actually, it's going to be plus 4y's because I'm multiplying by 2. So that'd be a plus 4y's. And a negative 2 times a negative 4 would be a positive 8. Now I'm going to bring this equation just straight over because I'm not changing anything on that. There's my y's that I needed to change out. And now I have a minus 6 and a plus 7, so that's 1x. And an 8 minus 6 would be a 2, so my x value is a 2. So now let's go in and plug it in. Again, it doesn't matter which one you plug the 2 in. You just have to put it into the equation correctly. So I'm going to do the first one. Boy, I'm not starting off very good today, am I? I'm getting my y is a 5. Okay? All right, so kind of look at the equations as you're doing them. Make sure they're lined up. Decide what you're going to do. So like on that first one there, my x's almost cancel out. So the best thing would be is to perhaps get these guys and multiply by a negative 3 all the way across, because that would give me a minus 15 x's. And then my x's would cancel out. Okay. If you look at number 2 over there, you're going to have to do some tweaking to get that thing into everything lining up. So you're going to have to add 7 x's to both sides. And then that's going to be 7x plus 9y's equals 18. And now we're not going to look at that equation anymore. We're going to look at these two guys. And so as I look, my y's almost cancel out. That if I multiplied that first one by a negative 3, that would make that a minus 9y's, and then you could have your y's cancel out. So when you do that, kind of rewrite your whole equation and bring this one up so they all line up, okay, that they're close together. All right, do those 3, come back. I have my answers, and let's see how you did. All right, let's see how you did. I had 3 negative 5 for that first one, 6 negative 4 for my second one, and 7 2 for my last one. So you can see there's a whole bunch of math work here, and you got to get pretty good and fast and efficient and accurate with your isolating variables, okay? All right, so let's go down here to the last kind of example. Now, first of all, they're all messed up here. My exit, that one's in standard form, but I want to get this one into standard form. So now I want to have a minus 3x plus 7y's equals negative 18. Now this is the hardest that we will end up doing right here. But these take some time because look, now I'm focusing on this equation up here, and I'm focusing on this one. And I don't see anything that's going to be canceling out. So, but what could we do to get something to cancel out? My x's is a 5 there and a -3 there. If I got these guys to 15, then they would cancel out. So in order to get them to 15, I'm going to have to multiply this whole equation by a 3. And I'm going to have to get this whole equation down here. I'm going to have to multiply by a 5. So again, this is how you show your work. That 3 up there in parentheses says, okay, I'm going to multiply that whole equation by 3. So this is where you have to be very careful and accurate. I want to rewrite my equation over here. 15x's plus 6y's and negative 18 times 3. I don't know that off the top of my head. That'd be a negative 54. We're going to get some bigger numbers. Now I'm going to come down here and do this guy. That would be my minus 15x's. That's what I needed, my x's to cancel out. 5 times 7 is 35y's. And negative 18 times 5 is a negative 90. So now my x's cancel out. And now I got 35 plus 6 is 41. So I got 41y's. I gotta turn my lights on so I can see my calculator here. And I'm back. So we got a 90 plus 54. They're all negative, so that's going to be a minus, what, 144? Did I do 19? I didn't do this one right. I see a problem here. I didn't do 19 times 5 correctly. This here should have been a 19 down here. Sorry, you probably picked up on that and probably yelling on the other side. This should have been a 19. Bring that straight down. So I'll fix that real quick. There's my 19, but that's going to make this guy over here the wrong number. So we got 19 times 5, which is 95. Where's my purple? Okay, yep, I boo-booed on that one. I was just looking at that as I was sitting back down here. It's like, wait a minute, I had the wrong number there. All right, so let's see now. Was it a positive 95? Yep, positive 95 and a negative 54. Now let's work on it. That's a 41. Oh, that's nice. So now if I divide by 41 on both sides, I get y equals 1. Nice. That worked out good. So I'm going to write my answer over here, 1. Now I just have to go plug it into one of my problems. I want to do the second one just because it's right there. I'm getting a negative 4. Now again, these guys take some time, so you're going to have to dedicate. I think there's 14 problems on today's, and not all of them are where you have to multiply. Some of them already have it that they're lined up and ready to cancel. All right, so again, try these 3 here. Make sure the things are lined up as our first step, and then kind of look. What would be the easiest to get to cancel? I see a plus 5 and a minus 7 here, so I'd probably get these guys to a 35. So that means we'd have to multiply that first equation by a 7, and we'd have to multiply this equation by a 5. So do that, and then write your equations right next door. Again, this is going to take some time, so pause your video, try those 3, and then let's see what we get. And we'll do some word problems. All right, here's what I got. We got a 2, 3 for the first one, 9 minus 1 for the second one, and 5, 6 for the last one. Okay. Now, let's go to some word problems. Now, this is our study guide from yesterday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. This was the last one. Let me just make sure we're on the right track here. All right. Oh no. Or was this on the homework? Yeah, this is on the study guide from yesterday. So let's wrap up that study guide. So if we were to write an equation, I spent the whole $134 here. I did 2 adult tickets. I don't know how much each adult ticket costs, so I'm going to say 2 times adult tickets plus my U3 youth tickets. But I spent the whole $134. So there's my first equation. Max's family spent $146. They bought 3 adult tickets and 2 youth tickets. So I'm going to use the U for youth, A for adults. So there's my 2 equations. Now, this is why we needed yesterday. So we could get these guys to a 6 here, but I need one of them to be a negative. So we're going to have to multiply both of these guys, huh? Let me just make sure I did that right. 3 adult tickets, 2 youth. Yep. So one of these equations we're going to have to multiply both of them, but one of them is going to have to be a negative. So let's get these guys a 6. I'm going to have to multiply this guy by 2 to get that to a 6. Let's get rid of my A's. I'm going to have to multiply this guy by, I want to get rid of my U's here. 2 times 3 would be 6 U's. You can get rid of either one. I'm getting rid of my U's. And then I want to multiply this one by a negative 3, because that would give me a minus 6 U's. Okay? So I want to write my equations over here now. I got 4 A's plus 6 U's, and 134 times 2 is 268. I'm going to multiply this one by a negative 3, so that's going to be a minus 9 A's. There's my minus 6 U's that I needed, and 146 times negative 3 is a negative 438. So this here is going to be a negative 5 A's. My U's cancel out. Don't worry that this is going to be a negative number. It's going to be a negative 706. Because I want to divide by a negative here, and that would make it back to a positive. If I had a negative amount of money there as my final answer, then something's kind of wrong there, because that means they're paying you. So what am I dividing by 5 here, I believe? Okay, so I'm getting $141.20. Kind of a weird number, so I want to check over my work here, make sure I did everything right. Negative 9, 6 U's, 146, 134. All right, so I'll check it at the end here, because that's kind of a weird number for an adult ticket. So my adult tickets were $141.20. Let's go with my youth ticket, and then I'm going to check it, because again, that seems kind of like a weird cost for a ticket, but maybe there's tax or something. So I'm going to plug it into my first equation here. So I'm going to say 2 times 141.20 plus 3 Something's got to be wrong here because I'm getting a negative number here. All right, you're probably yelling at me on the other side there. 134, I bought 2 adults, 3 youths. Next one, 146, 3 adult, 2 youth tickets. Got that all right. Multiply the top by 2. Multiply the bottom by -3. Nine minus 4 is 5. I'll do that. 438 minus 268. There's my problem. Holy cow, that was a big error there. My calculator. All right, so I want to erase all this. I see my problem. Thanks for not yelling at me. You probably are yelling. Holy cow, minus 706 over there. I added the 2. I should subtract these 2 because that would be 170. So since I got my eraser, I want to erase this. All right. Major error there. I want to check it again. 438 take away 268. That's a minus 170 right here. And now I want to divide by -5. Now let's see what that ends up being. There we go. An adult ticket's $34. Okay. But I was starting to pick up on some of the things that didn't quite look right. All right, so now let's get cooking on this and wrap this up. 2 adults are 34. $66. Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be $22 for a youth ticket. Okay, sorry about that. That was a silly error there. All right, so we caught it. All right, so here's your 2. Now, I hate it when they use the same letters. So maybe make a key here because she bought 19 apples of 2 different kinds. So the total cost of the apples was this. Now, we don't know how many Granny Smith apples she bought, but we do know they're 25 cents each. And we don't know how many Gala apples she bought, but they were 30 cents each. So I'm looking for 2 totals here. See if, let's call Granny Smith S apples. So it's good to make a key sometime. So wherever I have an S, that's going to be my Granny Smith apples. We can keep Gala as a G. Okay? All right. Let's see if you can come up with the 2 equations. Look for your totals. All right. If you're struggling here, I had 19 apples altogether. I don't know how many Granny Smith apples I bought, and I don't know how many Gala apples I bought, but I do know I bought 19 of them. So my Granny Smiths plus my Galas have to equal 19. I'm looking at my other total here. I see that she bought a total of $5.10. And then I'm going to focus on my prices. My Granny Smith apples cost 25 cents, so that's going to be a 0.25 S's. Plus, each time I bought a Gala apple, that was 30 cents. So there's now my 2 equations. Nothing's going to line up, right? But we can solve this by just saying, okay, let's get rid of our S's. To do that, I'd have to take it times a negative 0.25, right? So now we're getting into the decimals, because that would give me a negative 0.25 S's. All right, so let's take that equation and multiply everything by a negative 0.25. So 5 times 0.25 would be that's an S. boy, that's a big mistake. So that'd be a negative 0.25 S's. That's what I needed. And then it's going to be a minus 0.25 G's. And now what's 19 times a negative 0.25? That's a negative 475. Let's just take this equation and bring it over. That's my 0.25. And then that's what I needed to cancel out. Now, I want to have a plus 0.30 G's and $5.10. So my S's cancel out. Here I have 5 cents G. Don't forget your decimal. 510 take away 475 equals 35.35. And if I take and divide by 0.05, I'm getting G equals 7. Now I'll go back to my key. Well, it's a he, I guess, Carl. Seven gala apples. And I'm going to plug it into that very first equation. I have 7, or S plus 7 equals 19. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. 19 take away 7 is 12. So he bought 12 Granny Smith apples. Okay. All right. I think I had that answer on here. Yep. Same thing. Now, go do this problem was on your practice sheet yesterday. I said at the end of the video yesterday, at least write the two equations. And so I'm hoping that you came up with two equations. They charge a flat fee of X dollars, so they're telling me to use X for a floor sander plus Y dollars per hour for the rental. One rents the floor sander for 4 hours and pays $63. Another customer rents the floor sander for 6 hours and pays $87. So they charge one flat fee, so I don't know how much that is. So I'm going to put X. So let's go with the first guy. So the first guy's sander, one customer rents the floor sander for 4 hours. So they're going to pay Y dollars per hour. So that's going to be plus 4 times Y equals $63. Another customer rents the floor sander for 6 hours. So I don't know what the flat fee is, but I know it's the same for 6 hours and pays $87. Okay, so now if I multiply one of these guys by a negative 1, then everything would cancel out. Or I could subtract those two equations. I guess you could have done this equation yesterday. So I want to just multiply it by a negative 1, because then my brain works a little bit better. So my x's cancel out. 4y's minus 6y's is minus 2y's. 87 take away 63 is negative 24. Divide by negative 2, y equals 12. So my y is 12. So they rented it for, again, back to here, my y is 12. So that means they charge $12 per hour. They want to know, and the cost per hour. So there's my cost for the per hour. Now let's go plug it in and solve for the other one. Let's plug it into the first equation there. X equals, whoops, not equals. X plus 4 times 12 equals 63. 12 times 4 is 48. I got x equals my 63, take away 48 is 15. So the flat fee is $15 per hour, or $15. They pay that a one-time fee. $12 per hour to rent it. Now they want us to do a problem. Someone rented the sander for 11 hours. Well, we're going to pay the flat fee of $15. They charge $12 per hour, and they rented it for 11 hours. Someone charged $12, and I want to know the cost. 11 hours, $12 an hour. That's 132 plus my 15, and I get $147. So to rent the sander for 11 hours, the charge would be $147. All right. So today you have practice page here. Now you can submit that other page, by the way. We just did it, so nobody better miss that one. But anyhow, you'll see some of these right at the bat, like number 3, the x's cancel out. So not all of them. So they want you to kind of look and study the problem. And then kind of like on the back on number 7, maybe multiply one of those by a -1 to get the cancels out. Okay, and then they even go a little bit harder. And so as we get to the last couple problems there, you're probably going to have to multiply both of them by a number. Okay, it's going to take you a little bit of while to do your homework today. So budget in your time, and you have one problem that's very similar to the one that we just did, hockey player family. Okay, all right. We'll see you tomorrow. We have a quiz over tomorrow. We're going to do solving systems of equations by graphing, by elimination, and by substitution. The elimination ones, I think that's on next week. So for sure by substitution. All right. So make sure you have that quiz done by 3 tomorrow. I think there was like maybe 8-10 questions. And then there's just a 10 question sheet of all mixed up, solving by elimination. All right, have a good day, and there probably won't be a video tomorrow. It'll be just a quiz and submit your quiz answers. All right, again, have a good day.